Graves, your host on The Power of Money, and I'm honored to have you as a part of my world in this coming segment. With The Power of Money, as you know, we are interested in three things. First, that you get the necessary education so that you and your family will have the information to do well in these difficult times. The second thing I'm interested in is for you to be empowered to prosper. I want only the best for you, but you can't get that if you don't have the education and then the drive to make it happen. And the final thing, and perhaps the most important thing, is that you be energized. Because life is more than a journey. Life is about living. And so I want you to learn these things and to be empowered and encouraged and energized. I'm Michelle Graves. Now here we go.
And here we go. I'm Michelle Graves, and welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, and I've been your host for, goodness gracious, almost 30 years now, if you can believe that. I am officially a senior and happy about it, glad to be able to share wisdom, knowledge, and bring you incredible guests to give you insight in terms of what is going on in the world of business, finance, the world. And today is no exception because I have in the studio today an individual who I can only use the term astounding. I have to say that because I've known this man for 30 years, I guess.
Or more.
Or more. I'm telling my age. And he is, in my opinion, if you're into the Avengers and Marvel classics and that type of stuff, this man is astounding and amazing in the world of business and banking. And so for the next hour, and you want to sit down and listen to this man because he is well recognized, acknowledged for his contributions to the community in the world of business and banking. And he has some things that he's going to share with you that you may not even know because you're so tied up in what's going on in the newspaper and on television that you're missing the real moves that are being made right now and how you can benefit. I have in the studio today Morris Williams, who is the head of the Hamilton County Community ReInvestment Group. His background is exhaustive and extensive, including work with the Federal Reserve. Oh yeah, that's the bank. Forget your little bank, that's the bank. And work on a local basis in Southern Ohio. And I'm just delighted to have him here. We go back when I was a fiery, no-nonsense, kick-butt banker. And he was kicking my butt, okay? I'm not kidding. He doesn't have any issues with males or females, black or white. He's about money. So I'm honored and delighted to have him here. And where do we want to begin, Mr. Morris Williams?
Listen, I'm pleased to be here on this show.
Oh, I'm glad to have you here.
I watched your last show and it was a monster. I mean,
well,
the information
thank you.
was outrageously good.
I thank you so much. I appreciate that about you. I really do. But I've got you here today because of your unceasing hell, wind, brimstone, fire, banks. I'm here. You're here because I want you to talk to the people openly about your history. Let's talk about where this all began.
Okay.
And what you feel defines you.
Before I say that, let me first give credit to the folks who I'm part of.
Okay.
There's a group called the National Community ReInvestment Coalition. It is national. We work in 25 countries for fair and equal access to capital, credit, and financial service.
You're now in 25 countries.
25 countries.
There
is a regional, the Greater Cincinnati Community ReInvestment Coalition.
Okay.
Then that's the Hamilton County Community ReInvestment Coalition. But I'm also the chair of the Economic Development Committee for the Cincinnati NAACP.
Oh my goodness, okay.
So all those groups are part of this, and 226 other organizations across the country trying to bring capital to our community.
Would you please, for the benefit of my viewers, please explain in simple terms,
Okay.
because you know we have a problem with this.
Yes.
In simple terms, what is capital and why it is so important to the success and the survivability of our communities today?
There are two buckets of money. One is home loans, business loans, consumer loans.
Okay, home loans, business loans, and consumer loans.
That's debt-based.
Okay.
The real money,
Debt-based means?
that means you got to pay somebody back.
Oh, yes. And that somebody has a name.
That's right.
Okay.
And the real money is contracts, jobs, grants, and sponsorships.
Okay.
Let me say something real quick here. People should understand that jobs are great, and you ought to get a job.
Yeah.
If you're not an entrepreneur, if you don't want to run a business, don't do a business. Get a good job and be an employee that they will never want to get rid of. But the contracts is the way to get chunk money. You can pay your bills, you can save, and you can invest. Grants, that means you have said to a corporation that there's something that you want to do to improve the community, and they give you a grant. So there are deliverables, things you have to do. But a sponsorship, let's say that one of the banks said that I just love Graves, and we're going to put the Morris Williams banner behind her, and she's going to charge me $50,000 to put my banner back there. That $50,000 is hers. So those of you who are nonprofits and small businesses can have any corporation give you a sponsorship. Businesses generally can't get a grant, but you can get a sponsorship.
So why can't they get a grant?
They can't get a grant because corporations give money because they can write it off.
On their taxes.
On their taxes. And in America, in fact, America may be the only country you can do that.
I think it is.
Yeah, other countries, they have groups of people who really give to the community, but they can't write it off.
NGOs.
So NGOs, right.
Right.
So you want to look for grants and sponsorships, but equally important right now, you want to start getting yourself together to do contracts.
And why the focus on contracts, Mr. Williams?
The focus on contracts is because first, you're your own boss.
Okay.
You know what you can do, and you know what you can't do.
Okay.
And you should never do what you can't do. Never go to a corporation to say you want to do something and you can't do it. But if you can do it, ask for the top dollar. Insist on it. And generally, women are not looked at seriously with respect to top dollar. So, matter of fact, when I talk to people in the community about banking and money, well, the white folks say, who should I call? Sometimes black men say, who should I call? Black women always say, do you think I should apply? Black women have been so oppressed that they now suppress themselves. Won't even go ask for the money.
But you know why?
Oh, yes.
I mean, I've been a black woman in business for almost 40 years now.
It's tough.
And it's tough.
It's tough.
It's tough. And it's tough because the world of capitalism is about roof.
Yes.
Nobody want their neck.
And we got two real bad systems here. One of the things that NCRC we did in 1995 in France was to talk to the Mitterrand administration about the predatory banking systems that was coming into France.
Oh my goodness.
What they said to us was, we got so busy programming and working with people, we forgot to continue to educate them, organize them, and mobilize them. The right wing took over.
Oh my goodness.
And so
that's under Mitterrand.
That's under Mitterrand.
Okay.
But the deal is that they said, and it was some funny stuff going on here. But the real deal is, you got to talk about capitalism. They talked about monopoly capitalism.
Yes, the highest form.
Monopoly capitalism means that, like your telephone company. See, nobody else, your gas electric.
Yeah.
They had to break it up. But everybody that's a contractor trying to sell you some gas electric got to go through the main system. The main monopoly keeps the base. So monopolies is when one business or a few businesses,
Oligopolies.
control the marketplace.
Right.
And that's bad. And the reason it's bad because without competition, they can charge you crazy prices. Competition means the consumer has some control. You don't like this, you go down the street. You don't like that one, you go across the street. You don't like that one, you go out of town. You can always go somewhere and do business where everybody has a chance. Then there's crony capitalism.
Crony capitalism.
Crony capitalism.
Oh my goodness gracious.
We've been watching the crony capitalism with our president.
Yeah.
That says, and
What's this?
I'm gonna say this real gentle. You just
Don't
have to
be gentle.
you have to suck up to everybody trying to make your dollar.
Yeah.
They're not talking about your skills and knowledge. They're saying, kiss me.
Oh,
It's called crony
here's my
capitalism.
hand.
You understand? And so what happens is, if you're not prepared to bow to people, and we come from a thing that we bow to God and God only.
Only.
And so if you start bowing to people because you're trying to get some money, you're through.
But you know what, Mr. Williams, and please don't think I'm trying to be formal, but I want people to know you as Mr. Williams because in Cincinnati, and I say this because, you know, I've lived and dealt all over the world, but there is a disposition that I don't like. I don't like it because you're not a first name basis person. And therefore, when they, and it's casual, and I'm like, excuse me? You don't address me casually because I'm not your people like that. We have paid our dues.
Yes.
And therefore, you are Mr. Williams to me. Now, I just want to give you all clarification because it's funny how we tend to simplify people in our minds by first names. And that is a great sign of disrespect. Despite what you may think about our past presidents, they have a last name and they have a title. And out of all due respect for what has been said and done, with this man, he's Mr. Williams. So.
But let me say this to people.
Okay.
When you see me, I'm no better than you and I'm no lower than you. We are equal human beings in Christ. And
True.
we should come together and talk about what can we do together to build not only our household, our city, but also our nation. And that's what we're doing here in terms of having people having access to capital, credit, and financial services so we can build our nation.
Well, I think that, and I must say this because in the 80s, it hit the fan. It hit the fan because when I was doing research at that time in Cincinnati and discovered that our banks had deliberately and callously excluded African Americans from whole tracts of property. They had come together and colluded.
Around the country.
Around the country. And that little bit of research that blew into something unimaginable as I look back, really opened up my eyes to how unfair and even criminal, even criminal, a system was to deprive people of their right to live where they want to live, to be able to buy a home without being subjected to race or with women, sex. Who is this? The man behind the screen, the Wizard of Oz? What the heck?
Let me tell you how bad this thing is. Even today, we talk about crony capitalism.
Yes, crony capitalism.
Those people who control our lives use us to hurt ourselves. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. When the country fell because of what the banks were doing in this country.
In 2008.
2008.
Oh, that was horrible.
But here's what you got to understand. It was the appraiser, the real estate agent, the loan officer, the underwriter, the second look committee. They all did the actual fraud. But they did what everybody does on their job. If you don't do what your boss say to do, you go home.
Exactly.
And that's all it is.
Right.
So as taxpayers, we can't put them in prison because we'd have to pay for them.
Oh, we got to
Yes,
feed
they
them.
ain't got no money.
We have to take care of them.
But the people who ordered that stuff, those in the bank who have shares of stock, those who have big titles, their boards, the Wall Street managers and their firms, these are the people who made gross money off of that collapse. They sold us bad stuff,
They did.
overpriced
They
it.
did.
Then they got the HARP and the HAMP money. That was two programs where you could go get your home refinanced to try to keep it. The government paid them some money. Then they got some other programs, so the banks are constantly being paid. So we're saying to the banking community, you owe.
But they do
Now, for
owe.
those of you who like to do research, there are two laws you want to look at. The Community Reinvestment Act,
Yeah, the CRA.
CRA. The
Yes.
Community Reinvestment Act basically says banks have an affirmative obligation to meet the convenience and needs of local communities. You need to define what that convenience and needs is. If you let them define it, that's why you don't have no money. You have to stand up and define it. Then there's the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act,
HMDA.
HMDA.
Yes.
It allows you to look at where banks make mortgage loans by race, gender, income, census tract, and low doc, no doc.
Oh, yeah.
Now let me tell y'all what low doc, no doc
Please
means.
tell them about low doc, no doc.
All of you who have gone to the bank, they said they want to have 3 years of your taxes.
Don't make me
They
start
want to see your
laughing.
current debt, your bills.
Yeah.
They want to know about your mama's bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Low doc and no doc means some people got some money and they had low documentation or no documentation. And that wasn't you. That wasn't us.
And you know what? They still do it.
They still doing it.
They still do it. That's called crony capitalism. Keep it in the family. Keep it among those who look like you, who live like you, and who think like you.
Here's something people don't know. In 1989, Joe Kennedy came to a guy named John Taylor,
Okay.
and he said that we're trying to build the Community Reinvestment Act, strengthen it inside of Congress. But we need the community to say something, and they're not saying enough. Could you organize something? So John organized 19 of us together around the country.
Is that the John that I had on my radio show?
John
that time?
Taylor, that is
Oh my
correct.
God, a brilliant man, an attorney.
John Taylor,
Yeah.
he's the attorney,
Awesome
but
man.
he's the CEO of the National Community Reinvestment Coalition, and he's given his president title to a young man named Jesse Van Tol. They're excellent people. They got a great brother who's chair of the board, Bob Dickerson out of North Carolina.
Okay.
Alabama, I'm sorry.
Oh, Alabama.
So,
Ooh-wee.
but here's the pace. We organized people all over this country till we had about 600 organizations. So in 1994, the banks came to us because they was giving us money
Yes.
and said, we want to be part of the organization.
Okay, so now wait a minute. Are we talking about Little Red Riding Hood?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so they said, we want to be part of the organization. We want to sit on the board. We want to be a member. We said no. They
Okay.
said, well, we're giving you money. No. But we created what's called the Bankers Community Collaborative Council.
Okay, so you let them have their own.
There were 14
Okay.
CEOs, senior vice presidents of the bank corps, of 14 largest bank corps in the country, and 14 of us.
Okay.
We talked about how rich people got access to money. So we created those instruments that you have used, the no down payment, adjustable rates, balloons, all those kind of different instruments so that you could access money. But they were set up for specific people. For instance, if you was coming out of college and you and your friend got a job, got some money, you got good money, but you have never saved money. So you need a low down or no down payment loan.
Right.
Let's say that your boss come to you and say, listen, Michelle, in 3 years I'm gonna send you to California to set up another shop.
Okay.
But she's buying a house. So she goes and she wants to get an adjustable rate mortgage. It's going to adjust in 5 years.
Right.
But she's gone in 3.
Right.
That means that rate don't jump up on her. In 3, she's gone, she sells it, bank makes some more money, business is being done. So don't be concerned about the instrument, but make sure your real estate agent tell you that the instrument the bank is giving you to make that loan fits you. And so I know Michelle is doing a lot of talking about that, but there's a lot of money available for you.
Well, I want to speak about that because I owned a bank, and I have direct underwriting experience, and I started that bank because if you will remember, the banks at that time were not making loans.
Subprime loans.
They weren't making loans to black people. They weren't making loans to women. I happen to be both. They were not making loans. I didn't care if you were a white woman, black woman. If you had kids, you weren't getting a loan. And I was offended.
And many women, their husbands died and they were not on the mortgage.
At all.
At all.
And couldn't get credit. I know you all don't believe that, particularly you young people, but I'm just keeping it real, okay? Because it was a hot mess out here.
Yes.
And I never forget, I couldn't raise money in Ohio. I had to go to Atlanta to raise the capital that was necessary for me to be able to do this mortgage bank. And it was rough.
Well, let's go back to the National Community Reinvestment Coalition.
Okay, yeah.
We and a group called National People's Action out of Chicago,
Okay.
two huge groups, we were pressing the banks about the bad loans they were making to people. So mainline banks stopped doing what's called subprime.
Okay.
The just for rate mortgages, all the kind of loans, no down
Garbage
payment, no down
loans.
payment.
Yeah.
There was an expansion of mortgage bankers. Everybody started opening up a mortgage
I
bank.
couldn't believe it.
And so they would write anything. You could go in and get a mortgage loan collateralized by a lawnmower
It was just unbelievable.
because they could sell it to the mainline banks.
Right.
So the mainline banks said that we're straight, but they're buying all the bad stuff. If they would not buy it, the mortgage companies wouldn't write it.
They would not write it.
So that's how our country fell, because they over leveraged. What that means is they kept saying it's worth this, but it wasn't. And they kept putting them in those securities and saying it's worth this, and they broke them apart and sold them pieces. So that's not the main part. The main part is that it destroyed America. No foreign enemy has hurt more Americans than what happened in that depression.
You know what? In 2008, I was out of the business. I had gone to live in China. I was back from China. I was looking at what was happening in our country, Mr. Williams, and it was absolutely devastating because our people, the American people, did not understand banking. They did not understand credit, meaning how it works, and it's a stripping. It's a stripper.
And they didn't understand what was happening in terms of commercial markets.
No, they didn't.
For instance, in 2000, we were in Wales doing the same kind of work.
Yes.
And in America, you were being told that there's a low amount of gasoline available, so the prices went up $4, all that kind of stuff. That wasn't a real problem. The real problem was they were selling in Wales at $8 a gallon for the cheap gas. So they found, capitalists. They found somebody who would pay more.
And moved it.
They told you didn't have none, didn't have enough, so you got to pay more. So everybody's paying more.
But let me ask you this, because with the advent of the world is officially flat, where information is transmitted in milliseconds. Right now. So there's no more game like that. If Wells is not going to pay $8 today. That's not going to happen.
They don't have the money either.
They don't have the money either.
You're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
They're not going to be paying nothing.
Everybody's
broke. But having said that, with the world being flat, are you still finding vestiges of this old stuff that we were dealing with?
Yes.
Okay.
For instance, one of the things the Community Reinvestment Act allows, let's say if a bank is going to branch or they want to go to merge, that means as the banking industry shrinks, it costs us more money because they keep merging, less competition. But at that point, it gives you an opportunity to comment as to, can they have that merger? Can they branch? Can they close the branches? And you get to go talk to the regulators and say, this bank is not serving our needs. Every time we go to the bank to get some money, we can't get it. They say we got bad credit, but we saw, as a matter of fact, here's a real example. They were telling black folks that you could not get a loan if you have below a 620 credit score.
Right, right.
So a white couple out of Kentucky called me and said, "Do you help white folks?"
Do you have white
Literally, no. No. That was a sick group. Let me tell you about this better one. I had a foot operation. I'm coming back from NCRC conference. The lady got me in a wheelchair going through a tunnel. I'm telling about all the work people doing around the country trying to make these banks invest in human beings, not just the brick and mortar, the human beings,
right?
And all the work, and I hear her crying behind me. I got scared. I'm like, I said, "Well, matter what's wrong?" She said, "Me and my husband are losing our home." She said, "This was my mother's home. We bought it from my mother.
Okay.
And we're finna lose it." She said, "I worked for Delta, and Delta was laying people off."
Yeah, they were.
She went to another airline making half a salary. He was a non-union machinist. So when he's sick, he can't make no money.
Right, that's correct.
They had just put their daughter in college and bought her car.
Okay.
So now they
they working the American dream.
They finna get thrown out of the house.
Yeah.
We helped them, we saved them. But the key here, they had a first mortgage with a 540 credit score and a second mortgage.
With a 540
credit score.
Would you tell our viewers what that means
in banker
terms?
That means that, see, they told you got to have a 620 credit score to get your loan. But this white family had a 580. They weren't supposed to get the loan, but they had two loans, a first and a second. So that's the kind of discrimination. But many times the only way you see it is to look at the paperwork.
Right.
So when you make your mortgage, you need to take advantage of those agencies in your community called mortgage. They help you look at your mortgage. They do mortgage counseling, like in Cincinnati, for instance, that's working in neighborhoods.
Right.
That's housing opportunities made equal. You may take your mortgage to them because they get paid with grants, and they can tell you, well, you may have got the loan, but it may be predatory. And if they turned you down, go see them still, because they may be able to determine that you should not have been turned down, and they can walk you back to the bank. The bank would rather make you a loan than go to court for discrimination.
I like that. Now let me ask you this, before we go, because I refuse to get off air without giving recognition to the work you and your organization have done in Southern Ohio around this reinvestment. And I'm going to read off banks. Where can people get this information, by the way?
If you write me at hccrg05@aol.com, I'll send you the summaries of these agreements. Also, you can call 202-628-8866 at the national office. Tell them what city you're in, and they'll find a group of ours in your city. But the big picture is, these banks agreed to cut these agreements with us for $64 billion.
$64 billion.
Because we use the Community Reinvestment Act, we use the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act to bring them to the table, and the Equal Credit Opportunity Act to bring them to the table to say, it makes more sense to put the money on the street than to give it to the courts and the judge and the lawyers.
Because somebody's going to get paid in this process.
Somebody's going to get paid.
I mean, this is America. Somebody's going to get a check.
This is a breakdown of that $64 billion and how you can get it. Fifth Third Bank,
$64 billion.
Key Bank, Huntington Bank, First Financial. And Wells Fargo is not in this group, but do go see them because they need to do something for you as well. All these banks need and want to invest in you.
You know what, Mr. Williams, I am profoundly moved because this, viewers, you have no idea. We won't even go there. It was nasty.
Yes, it was.
I was blackballed, okay, because as they said.
So was I.
Yeah, but I was a banker.
Right.
They said, you're Benedict Arnold. We took care of you. What are you doing? I'm like, you cannot do this.
You can't scam people.
You can't scam people. You need to go to clinky clink. You need to go to jail, But here we go. And this is why I'm so honored to have him here.
But let me share something else,
what?
Michelle. We pulled 68 organizations and people. Black folks generally don't pull ourselves together. The NCRC helped us pull 68 organizations and businesses together, and we participated in negotiating these agreements. So you can get home loans, business loans, consumer loans, jobs, contracts, grants, sponsorships. There's some way that you can go get the capital. And if you're not ready right now, these are 5-year agreements. Go see the small business development agency in your city. I know your ego says you don't want people to know that you don't know.
It's
but
okay.
As long as you play like you know and you don't know, you can't make no money. You make revenue, but not profit. And profit is what business is about.
Thank you very much. And as I said in my previous show, if you are married, single, children, you have a business. It's a family-owned business.
Yes.
Handle your business.
Yes.
Take care of your stuff, okay? But I gotta read this stuff because I just saw something that
it's amazing.
Amazing. First Financial Bank. They are corporate offices are in Hamilton, Ohio.
Yes.
Okay, Hamilton, Ohio. They have entered into a 5-year agreement as a strategic move to advance their merger with Main Source Bank. I don't know if you all are aware, but anytime banks are buying and merging with other banks, there are things that have to be done. And one of the things I'm going to read it quickly and then I'm going to let him speak to it. They have guaranteed $510 million in mortgage lending to low and moderate income communities and borrowers. They have guaranteed $750 million in small business lending to low to moderate income communities. They have guaranteed $450 million in community development lending and investments. They guaranteed $8.5 million in philanthropy across the bank's footprint. They have guaranteed $25 million with 8 new locations committed in branch distribution and access for low to moderate income communities. And they've guaranteed $1 million in dedicated marketing and communications for community development products and services.
Yes.
Whew!
Yes.
I mean.
But now this was negotiated by the National Community Reinvestment Coalition. All of us around the other cities, we were all on the phone with our drafts. And we're talking about what it looks like in our communities. And they put it all together. And we sit down, Fifth Third Bank, that everybody came to Cincinnati from all across the country. And we sat down and negotiated the final deals. So this is good work. But here's what's really important. The big number is great to know, but that's not the number you're going to get. Right. Think about the number you're going to get. But here's what you want to say. In the print, it says the bank has got to do something that's innovative.
Okay.
It says they got to do pre-development grants and loans. They say they want to do demonstration projects. They say we want to do 3-year grants. So if you get a 3-year grant, you don't have to begin hustling money to at least a year and a half. You can work your program, serve your people, and after a year and a half, you need to be searching for some fresh money.
Oh, I just saw this about Key Bank. Key Bank will cease financing Cash America's payday lending. I am so glad.
We got Fifth Third and Key to say they will stop.
Are going to stop.
Going to stop.
Because I knew they were doing it.
Yes.
How you gonna do this without a bank?
And here's the real. We got to press them to the next step. The step is not just to stop doing the payday lending, just ripping you off at 800% a year.
Like what?
The bank has got to agree to do low-cost loans in the bank. Years ago, rich people told banks, this is what I was told, that they didn't want to stand in line with poor people.
They did say that.
So banks stopped doing low-cost loans. So you couldn't get a small loan. So you had to go to pawn shops. Then the payday lenders kind of thing exploded. Then the bank started allowing you to borrow against your next check coming in.
Right.
Called a deposit loan. And at one point they was charging 10, 15%. We fought them down to 3%. How you gonna charge me 10 or 50% of my money?
Of your own money.
My own money.
Of your own money.
3%. See,
I'm telling you, Jesse James had it right. Why do I rob banks? Because that's where the money is.
That's where the money is.
I'm like, okay.
And it's our money.
This is so amazing. I'm even looking at Fifth Third Bank and their new commitment of $11 billion in mortgage lending.
Here's something Fifth Third Bank did that no one else did.
Gosh.
Fifth Third Bank, what you're gonna see in most banks, there's no black people who can approve money or overturn a bad denial.
Right.
They brought a black man named Brian Lamb in out of Florida. He was a regional president in Florida. Brought him in and made him a senior executive vice president in the bank corp.
Okay.
There's the bank corp and there's the banks.
Yeah. The holding company?
The holding company.
Okay, gotcha.
They brought a black female out of Detroit, Bina Elliott. Made her a senior executive vice president in the bank corp.
Cool.
They have a sister out of Columbus, Stephanie Stewart Young. She's in the bank, but she's a senior vice president.
Okay.
The Urban League of Cincinnati and Fifth Third Bank put together a meeting and brought us in where we met 15 blacks that had been promoted or hired in at decision-making positions. Now,
Not title, but actual.
good titles.
Right, right.
Now, we got to see.
Always.
Because, you know, many places, y'all know, black folks are forced to act like white folks. Women are forced to act like men. We've got to break that down. If I make her act like a man, I lose the purpose of the diversity.
Exactly.
I wanted her to think it based on what God gave her. And so we've got to fight these battles. They're not over. We got some on paper. You can make it real.
Come on, Mr. Williams. This is what we threw down for this.
Yes. But now we got to get the actual money.
We have to get them. Now, I'll tell you this.
Now we finna start.
They got the money.
We finna start asking people around our county and Hamilton County, did you apply for a loan? Did you get it? Did they deny you? We want to see what they denied, and we want to see what you got. Because we want to see if you got it, was it predatory?
Okay.
Are they overcharging you? And those kind of things. So in your county, get with your organizations. Start being active around the capital. Yes, I don't care what you're in, whether it's daycare, education, whether it's housing, whatever it is, at the end of the day, you got to have some money.
Would you say it again? At the end of the day,
On anything.
you got to have some money called green stuff.
Yes, and lots of it. And,
Lots of it.
And my position is, if I can fit it in my pocket, it ain't enough. I don't care how big that wad is, it's not enough. It's not enough.
That's what I love you. I love you.
That's why I love your program when you telling people, save the money. Put 10 cents away. And I'm gonna take a big leap.
Okay. Leap.
Cyber currency,
Yeah.
buy it.
Oh, it's happening. But you got to be careful.
Take your piggy bank money.
Yeah, piggy bank money.
Now we got a progressive pastor in Cincinnati, Pastor Damon Lynch III.
I love him.
He's training us
love
to
him.
take our piggy banks and use the piggy bank money, because if it go bad, you lost the piggy bank money.
Right, you didn't lose your
But
house.
if it blows up, see?
Oh, no, I got it.
And he's taking children and their parents aside saying, listen, when that boy asks you for a pair of Nikes, don't buy them. Take the money he was going to buy the Nikes for him and go buy Nike stock.
Right.
And when the profit come in, he can have some Nikes.
But you know what? And I admire. I've had your pastor on one of my earlier shows.
Excellent brother.
Oh no, we were talking about the rioting in Missouri.
Okay.
He came as a.
Yeah, him and Iris Rowley went down there.
Oh yeah, Iris, good woman, and I love his vision now, because at the end of the day, the church has such a powerful position.
Let me tell you what this brother's doing for us in Cincinnati.
Oh, please.
The church has 34 acres of land. We're going to have campgrounds for our children. We're going to have a fishing pond. We have 2 swimming pools.
Okay.
We have an indoor track. We have all kinds of stuff in this piece. And we have the whole shopping mall, the Valley Mall, that now belongs to a group that's being led by Reverend Lynch and Reverend Eugene Ellington.
Okay, I know him too.
If you are in that area, go in and tell them you got some business you want to put in there. If you're not in that area, fly in. You
And
want to bring your
schedule it.
business because there's capital to be invested in your idea.
Let me share something with those of you that are viewers and watching today. And some of this may be way over your head, but just back it up. You can play it again. Remember, YouTube, you can play it again. You can listen to it carefully. But you need to know that America, by design, has been asleep. People have been distracted into politics. You're not an elected official. You're not getting a check. You're trying to take care of your family. And this is a vehicle. What Mr. Williams has done and his organization and all the men and women all over this United States and the world have identified what the issue is and what has to be done to remedy it. This is not rocket science for which there is no technology to understand or cure to address. This is about money, period.
Fair and equal access to capital.
Fair and equal access.
To capital, credit, and financial services.
And it doesn't matter where you started. This is America. This is what I've told women over the years, which is, come on now. You got to dust yourself up and you got to run with it.
More women have degrees. You ought to see, a degree does not work. You work.
Yeah.
Bring it forward.
Right.
Come get the money and do what you studied to become.
And let me just speak to this, because with so many women and people that have been abused, there is a fear factor. It's the fear of rejection.
Yes.
What are they? Remember, I started my own mortgage bank because I saw so many women who were rejected. But I'm going to tell you, when the windows of heaven are open, you need to be jumping out that window.
Yes.
Am I right?
Absolutely. This is a blessing.
I look at this, I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. Look at Huntington. 5.7 billion. I like Huntington Bank. I don't bank with them, but I still like them. I always have liked Huntington Bank. They're Columbus Bank.
And we have black folks who are sitting on the advisory councils of all these banks. And so find out who's working for you in your community. Again, call 202-628-6888.
Say that again.
I probably said it backwards.
Yeah, no, you need to give the speak it slowly.
8866. 202-628-8866. That's the number to the National Community Reinvestment Coalition. Tell them that you're interested in finding an organization in your community that's helping people access capital, get some money.
And
if you want the summaries of this, write me at hccrig05@aol.com. I'll send them to you. And you should send them to everybody you know in the country.
I'm going to scan this and I'm going to put it on my Facebook page and I'm going to put it on my other stuff, because for me personally, and I did take this personally because I was a single mother raising 3 kids and trying to keep my company going, and all hell broke loose. Boom! And I was like, I'm not going to be able to be a nice girl anymore.
Can't.
I'm going to have to do my Annie Oakley. I'm going to have to do my Kentucky Girl 45. Boom! Because this is unbelievable. When the reality of the sorrow and the suffering comes to full face, when you see people who just are crushed and crushed and crushed, and then their children crushed. And before those of you out here say, well, if they work harder, they could do better. Are you stupid?
Let me ask something else.
What?
Stop wasting your time fighting against immigrants.
There's another problem.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm so happy.
There's enough money in America
my
for everybody. You see, when people, what they say, like they tell poor whites, if we get it, they don't have it. That's not true.
That is not
They
true.
just don't want to give it to them. And so the Mexicans and others who come into the country, if they come and they got skills, matter of fact, if I was making 5 cents a day and found out I could make $1 a day, I'd go where I can make $1 a day. It's just that simple. And so don't waste your energies fighting against immigration. Put your energies into building your own, educating your family. At the family reunion,
Yes.
talk about these agreements. Bring the family in and say, who wants to invest together?
Who wants some money?
Marijuana, stop running off, getting high, coming back, sneaking. No, have a conversation about investing. This is a growing industry. It's brand new. You can get on the ground floor and grow.
Well, look at our former House Speaker, Mr. Boehner.
Yes.
Is on the board
Yes.
of an Ohio marijuana
Yes.
company. I read that, and he had been against marijuana.
Because he understands he can make some money.
A
can
true
make some-
politician.
he can make
I'm
some
like,
money.
here we go.
You can
Here
make some money too. If you don't have a lot of money, it's all right. Buy one stock. If it's not in marijuana, go to where they invest in the company that makes the pipes, the company
something-
that makes the papers. Invest your money. Don't think that you ain't got enough. 1 share stock, then 2, then 3.
Well, I can't agree with you more because that is exactly my philosophy. That's why I'm known as the money lady.
Solid.
And that goes back 30 years. You know, I've been saying this. I'm tired of saying it. I'm the money lady. You need to listen to me and you need to follow so that you and your family can live. And on the subject of immigration, and I do not know how this has emerged as such a distraction because everybody over here, except the American indigenous Indian, is an immigrant.
From somewhere else.
From somewhere. We came over on boats under duress. But if I'm not mistaken, the Irish was fleeing from the potato famine.
But they're telling
What in the world is happening
they're
here?
distracted by fighting and boycotting and demonstrating around somebody coming. See, all that's wasted energy.
I can't even believe it. I can't
You
even believe
didn't make
it.
any money out there demonstrating against somebody else trying to make some money. Go make your money. Spend your time planning how you can make your money. If you're not sure how to make money, go to a small business development. It's free.
That's just it. It's free.
Your Urban League
Free.
is free.
Right.
Urban Appalachian Council,
Free.
Go ask somebody, how, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do it, can you help me out? That's what they get paid to do.
And I would also like to say, if your experience historically has not been particularly favorable with any of these organizations, it doesn't mean that you can't make it happen. Find your tribe. That's my moniker for this year, which is find your tribe, whether it's church world or business world. Find people that can understand the language that you're talking. And then hook up with them and expect them to hook up with you. If you can't make that connect, find it someplace else. There is so much out here today that if you're willing to focus and to come into one accord, that's back to your family again.
Yes.
If you want to start a business and your wife doesn't, then the question may be, maybe your business at home is not very stable. And that may be an issue with her as the COO, Chief Operating Officer. She's the one who have to make it go. So if that's not the case, and you two are in one accord, then you can work jointly and together and get it done. But I must say, and I really do mean it, you all aren't looking at what I'm looking at, but you need to get it because I'm just amazed. I mean,
And there's more to it.
there's more. I would love to see what Wells Fargo's gonna do.
Oh, listen. Well, Wells Fargo is reaching out.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo should be reaching
I
out.
was in the room with the realtors in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And they had Wells Fargo in. We're meeting with the CEOs of the board. I'm the
Okay.
chair of the boards and CEOs of these corporations.
Okay.
They are coming out, reaching out because they have a problem and you can help them.
Well, yeah, they got a problem.
They have done some bad things.
Yep.
And now they need to do some good things.
Yep.
You don't have to talk about the bad things no more.
Just move
Just
on.
move forward doing the good thing.
That is awesome.
Figure out what you can do. And if you find out they're not serving your need, come together and talk to the regulator. Come together and talk to your elected official. Because if there's no money moving through a city, everybody dies. The whole city's
Oh
went
my
under.
gosh, isn't that the truth? The whole issue about, as an economist, which is what my training is professionally, I tell people money's got to move.
It's got to move.
It's a river.
Yeah.
It's current. That's why they call it currency.
Yes.
It's got to move. So if money is not moving, everything stagnates. It becomes like the Dead Sea. Everything in it is dead.
Have you talked to them about the fact that people got $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in their savings sitting there in the savings account?
You know what?
It's amazing.
It is absolutely amazing. So much is amazing.
That's another show.
That's another show about why do you have your money in a. Now I do believe that you must put a portion of your money
in savings.
in a safety net. You got to have a safety net
that you have access to.
That you have access to.
Yes.
So that you don't have to do a GoFundMe page.
Right.
If something goes crazy. But beyond that, there are other things that are available if people are willing to do that. Now, Mr. Williams, I've been doing this show since 1982. 1982. I've been talking to people about money. I've written in the Inquirer, I've written in the Herald, I've written in national magazines about money. And it hasn't been a race thing because money is green.
But let's give a break.
Okay.
What's that? The go pay me? What's
the
that?
GoFundMe page.
Listen, because people right now are in the situation. If you didn't do what you said in the past, you're in the situation.
Yeah, you in the situation.
And so you got to do those things. Do it. But if they send you the money, take care of your business. And most times people get a little more than what they need.
Yes.
Then work with that. Come back to this channel here and send her the letter saying, hey, I got a few $1,000s. What should I do with it?
Yeah,
send
I appreciate it.
Send that letter.
Instead of the letters that I typically get, which is, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm in bad shape.
I don't have no money.
I don't have no money. And I'm like, oh my gosh, America ain't nothing but a big fat green thing.
That's all
called
it is.
A tree with a man's face on it.
But unfortunately, in the country of money, just too many people do not have access to money.
Well,
the jobs, they're working 2 jobs, 3 jobs.
Oh,
and when you got to work 2 or 3 jobs, you can't be a good husband.
You
can't
no
be
way.
a good.
You're
You can't be a good
tired.
wife. You can't be you can't take time with your children.
You're too tired.
Too tired. So again, whatever kind of work you're doing, become really good at it so you can make the most money in it. Because every job that you got, we need.
I'm so in agreement.
If you're the janitor, we got to have a janitor. Because if we get dirty, we're going to die. We need you.
Give them your phone number one more time for the national.
202-628-8866.
Say it again.
202-628-8866. And the HCCRG05@AOL.com.
To get this information, and I'm going to put this also on my Facebook page in its entirety, so you'll know what's going on. This is just one small piece of a big puzzle. But I want to thank you.
One last point. We talked about 5 banks. Call their 202 number. They have agreements with other banks in other parts of the country.
That's what I'm excited about.
It's we got $190-some billion in agreements.
Whew. Oh, you're making me just shake.
Yes.
Well, listen, time's run out. There's so much more I could talk to you about, but let it suffice to say that this is just so good. And it is my hope that you've learned some things wherever this video is being shown. And I give kudos, of course, to my parent company, DATV, Public Access out of Dayton, Ohio, for again allowing this venue to educate you, empower you, and energize you for you and your family. Closing out, I'm Michelle Graves, and as always, I send you peace, love, and God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.